everyone, it's Angela Dahlgren. Oh, I do this every time. It's always too bright, isn't it? Is that better? Yes, that's better. Hi everyone, it's Angela Dahlgren. Welcome to another Facebook Live. I'm sorry I'm late today. I was getting my kids ready for gymnastics. So I'm 4 minutes late. I'm a little flustered. Okay, I'm just gonna get myself situated, move my water over here, move my laptop over here, turn off the volume in case I get like an email or something. Okay. I do not have a Disney dialogue question. Yesterday I was brainstorming while I was answering your questions, and I could not think of one. So while I pull up the Facebook Live from my computer so I can see your questions, I need you to help me think of a Disney dialogue question. And for those of you who don't know, I always like to start off my chats by asking you a question of the day. Oh, Brian's joining us today. Yay, okay. How do I invite him? Add. Oh, I've never done this. Oh, this is fun. Brian's gonna join us, hopefully. Hi, Brian.
Hello.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to grab my headphones, aren't I?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to do that. Yeah, Brian wasn't sure if he was gonna join us today, but he is, so this is good. Okay, so if you're watching, ask us a Disney-related question, and then we're all gonna answer in the comments. So last week was, how long do you like our Disney vlogs to be? Another time I've asked, like, do you prefer the Halloween party or the Christmas party at Disney? So if you have a Disney dialogue question, leave them below and we will all answer it. Okay, so that's what it's gonna be. Hi, Brian, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I'm gonna get my headphones and then hopefully I won't lose my sound because that happened last time.
Oh, no.
That was a bummer. So, Brian, you talk while I get them.
No problem. Hi, everyone. I am not even sure. I didn't actually even look at the questions that were submitted too close. Like she said, I just this morning kind of realized that I had time to do this, which I'm excited about. It's fun. I haven't actually talked to Disney or Universal on one of these in a while. We did our Harry Potter series. In fact, I still broke out my Gryffindor cup for this, just out of habit, I guess. But I am very excited to be able to answer questions or talk about Disney stuff. Lots going on. We're doing, this Halloween party started already. Food and Wine just started. We're coming up very quickly, it seems, on Christmas stuff starting. So there does seem to be a lot going on in theme parks very soon. I'll actually be at Universal next weekend for both Universal and Disney. Universal for the Halloween Horror Nights, which will be my first time there, and for Halloween Horror Nights, not at Universal, and then I will be at Disney for Food and Wine, doing some unusual videos. It sounds like I asked for suggestions on videos to shoot during the news that I posted yesterday, and have I think 8 or 10 really good suggestions for videos already. I only think I'll be able to shoot like 3, maybe 4 anyway. So but if anybody has suggestions of different challenges or comparisons or something that I could do by myself, it will just be me. Unfortunately, none of the other TouringPlans people, I think, will be there with me. So, but anybody who wants to throw suggestions out, go ahead and post those too. So.
Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay, good. All right, so let's go to the comments. Hello, Andrea and Harley. Hello, Kim. And is it Shahaf? I want to make sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. Hello, Amy. Hi, Mom. Let's see. Harley said, what do we think of the Snow White dinner changes? Some people are not very excited about it because they think that they like Wilderness Lodge. That's where, okay, so we should probably say what it is, right? So Artist Point, isn't that a buffet style dinner? Right, Brian?
No, it is a signature restaurant.
Is it just signature restaurant?
Mm-hmm.
They're doing dinner there. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the characters will be brought there for dinner, right? Is that the news?
Yes, it will be Snow White, Grumpy, Dopey, and the Evil Queen, I believe, are the characters that are supposed to be there. Well, it says an appearance by the Evil Queen, so it could be one of those where, like, it's just a photo op thing. I don't know. We know literally nothing about it. We don't know how much it's going to be. We don't know when it's starting. Like, we just know that it will exist at some point in the future.
I wasn't sure who the other characters were other than like Seven Dwarves and Snow White.
Mhm.
Anyway, so that rumor has been confirmed, but like Brian said, we don't really have many other details. And some people aren't happy because Wilderness Lodge is thought to be a more quiet resort. And, by bringing a character dining experience, it'll be, well, people think it'll be a little louder and it'll take away from that quiet, reserved resort. I think it's a good spot for it because, Snow White, is that your cat?
That is one of the cats,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, it's
She just used
loud.
the litter box and apparently he wants to tell everybody about
News! I went to the bathroom.
it.
I think it's a good spot for it though, because Artist Point, I don't know, first of all, it's in Wilderness Lodge, which is very like foresty. And don't they have like really tall murals of like, forest and what am I trying to say?
I think so. I've actually
It's
never, Artist Point is one of the few places I've never actually eaten, even though I know the other touring plans people and our dining reviewers and everything love it. So I think that's part of the reason that it's upsetting some people, although it never was really busy, which I'm sure is why they're changing it.
Yeah,
Uh, but
I guess my point being is like it makes sense that it's there because it's a forest theme
yeah.
and she's in the forest in the cottage. So I think it makes sense. I'm excited for it. I think that would be a really cool experience, but I do get why other people wouldn't be.
Yeah, it's one of those where I don't think they need character meals everywhere, but on the other hand, the character meals always they have to bring in a ton of money for them. They're
Mm-hmm.
always relatively busy.
Yeah.
So I could see taking a restaurant that maybe is underperforming and turning it into a character meal from a business sense. I understand completely why they would do it. But yeah, and like I said, I've always heard good things, but I've never eaten there either.
I
So
haven't either.
yeah, it makes sense, I guess is what I'm going to say. But yeah, we don't know. I checked yesterday, and reservations for Artist Point only seem to be available through November 10th. And
Okay.
November 11th and after, it was just showing. It said the restaurant was open, but it showed no availability on any day I checked after that, and there was availability on most days before that. So I don't know if that's when they're going to change it over, or if there's going to be like a refurb period. But you would think that soon they would want to open up dining reservations for it because,
Right. If they announced it recently.
yes, but who knows? They seem to be doing that lately where they are announcing things without full details. They did that with the minivans to the airport
Mm-hmm.
that they just recently announced where there wasn't a price on it at first, which seemed to make no sense. But
And then I'm thinking Whispering Canyon is the buffet. That's what I'm
yes,
thinking.
no,
Okay.
Whispering King I don't think is a buffet. That's just a really loud one in the lobby.
Maybe
Um,
is there a
the
buffet at Wilderness Lodge?
Trails
That's
End at Fort Wilderness is the buffet.
that's it. Okay. There is a buffet in that area, isn't there? Or am I
Hmm.
crazy?
I think Trails End might be the only one over there, although
You
I'm
guys,
sure other people will correct me.
yeah, let me know because I feel like there is. I got footage of it, so I know it's there. I just don't know where now. Um, Danya said that she's excited about the Snow White dinner. She waited in line for 90 minutes to meet them at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. So I can see how, for a lot of people, if you're paying the money to go to the party to meet the characters, and those are some that you're excited about, this would be a good alternative for you.
Yeah, and I see Holly points out that it will now be the only deluxe resort that does not have a signature dining restaurant, which I was trying to run through in my head, and that does seem correct. Which, although Wilderness Lodge is also kind of sub deluxe slightly, it's usually a little cheaper than most of the other deluxes. So I could see that they are, why they would necessarily consider that. It also, I wouldn't be shocked to learn that Artist Point was probably one of the least busy of the signature dining
Mm-hmm.
experiences also. So, and yeah, both Robin and Jason said Whispering Canyon is family style, not buffet.
That would
So,
make sense why it would be louder then. Thank you for clearing that up.
well, and that's the one where there was, in fact, there was just reports that they were toning down some of the they do. I don't exactly know. I apparently haven't eaten at a lot of places at Wilderness Lodge because I
Is
haven't
this
eaten at
the
Wilderness
ketchup
Springfield.
thing?
It's the one where, yeah, they yell about ketchup,
Yes.
and they will do so. And it's open to the lobby, and that lobby is so big, it is very noticeable throughout
It
the
is.
restaurant. So um, that's why I always think of it as the loud one.
I think that's why I thought it was a buffet because it just seemed really loud. But yes, now that I'm remembering it all, yes, that makes sense. Brandy said, when would you expect Friday, October 26th for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party to sell out? And it just kind of depends, doesn't it, Brian?
Yeah, I can, in a minute here, I can look and tell you when it's sold out in the past.
Uh,
But
do you want me to let you pull that up?
yeah, it's fine. Most of them don't sell out super far in advance, except for the Halloween party. That one will sell out pretty far in advance. The others, it's usually just a couple days, if that.
Okay. Yeah, I can let you look more into that if you want. And then can you tell us about Disney bounce back offers? That is again a Brian question. I did
I actually can't really. That's not something I've ever really done. I mean, I know the basis of them, but have you used them before?
I haven't. We've never really whenever we've stayed at Walt Disney World, we've never purchased a package. And when I went with my parents a million years ago, I don't really know what they did. My mom was watching. She's not now. And we stayed at Fort Wilderness. So I don't even remember what we did. So no, I don't have experience with that either. Gosh, you stumped us, Andrea. We're gonna have to
Well, I
remember
think,
that.
I mean, the basics is that if when you're there,
Book, right?
you can book then for a cheaper price for a future trip. But I don't really know when it is they offer them exactly. I don't know
Hmm.
if you go during a slower period, if it's a way to get you back. I'm not sure if it's a better deal necessarily than you
Hmm.
can get. I know it used to be. I know it used to be a really good deal usually. Nowadays, I think it's very similar to the deals you can get just by doing a room discount, or an annual pass discount, something like that. So I don't know. Going back to the sold out Halloween parties, last year there was actually only two sellouts, October 14th for some reason, and October 31st sold out about 3 weeks in advance. This year, obviously, the first party sold out. I don't think one is sold out since then. October 26th, that the equivalent date of that has actually never sold out before.
Hmm.
So I think you're probably pretty good. Now, the day before, the 25th, sold out in 2014 and 2015. Um, and now for October 26th, it might be because that's a day that maybe doesn't have a lot of equivalent days. That could be a newer party because they've been adding dates every year. So not all of these have equivalent parties from the past. And the October 28th party, that equivalent one sold out 10 days in advance 2 years ago. So um, if you definitely want to go to that one, honestly, I would say just buy the tickets soon. There's no
Hmm.
benefit to waiting if you know you're going to go.
Yeah,
If
true.
you're afraid of weather delays, we're getting into hurricane season here. So something like that, you can wait a little bit, but I would do it at least like 2 weeks in advance to be absolutely sure. But most of the parties don't sell out more than a couple days ahead of time. Keep an eye on it. WDW Magic is really good for that. They'll post when parties sell out. So keep an eye if you start to see like the early October parties selling out. That's a pretty good indication that the later October parties will definitely sell out. So keep an eye on that stuff too.
Going back to Andrea's thing, by the way, like your comments are pouring in, which I really, really appreciate. It's hard to keep up with, so it's kind of throwing us off.
We're
Going back
used
to
to the
Andrea,
Harry Potter chats
I
where we
know.
don't have as many people watching.
We're like not used to it. Brian and I like need to drink more coffee to keep up with you guys. But going back to Andrea's question, your comments are pouring in on that, so I just want to address those for those of you who are watching on YouTube and can't see. Um, Debbie said the main rule is that you have to book bounce backs before you leave. Right now, it's free dining for certain dates next year. And Danya said you have to book it before you leave. Gordon said you don't have to be staying with a package to take advantage of a bounce back offer. It's comparable to an annual pass holder discount. And Andrea said, okay, thanks. We're hoping for a great bounce back when we are there in November. Okay. All right. I think that's all of them. And so I'm going to go back up to the comments to make sure that we have answered everything for you. And yeah. Brian, did you have something to say? Did I interrupt?
No. I was just looking at some of the responses down here.
Scott said, out of the Halloween and Christmas parties at Disney World and Disneyland, which one gets the hype for being the best? That's a pretty easy one to answer, I would say. I would say that Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party at Walt Disney World gets a much bigger hype than Mickey's Halloween Party at Disneyland.
Yeah, I think so. Although I think Mickey's Halloween Party in Disneyland does tend to have more sellouts. But I think a lot of that is just because they have so many annual pass holders that are local out there that they all like to go to those types of events. So and it's possible they let in fewer people. We don't actually know what the numbers are, but yeah, I would agree. I think Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party would win a poll of the best of the three if given.
I do believe I filmed a video last year on both of them. That was the first time that I did an overview of Mickey's Halloween Party. So I will link that either during this stream or after, just so you can see what it's about if you haven't researched the Disneyland one before.
I always like that the Disneyland one is just called Mickey's Halloween Party, implying that it is scary because it's not scary. So even though I think they're pretty similar, aren't they, as far as like what offerings there are?
I wonder if Mickey's Halloween Party, and I can't remember because I haven't talked about it more, but I wonder if there's more of a Dia de los Muertos focus at Disneyland.
I don't know.
Then there
I will be going to that actually closer to Halloween.
Are you? Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
you are.
Yeah. 2 days before Halloween, actually, the 29th. So, it'll be too late in the season to really report on it. But for next year, I will be able to tell you the difference.
Yeah, I definitely will be curious to hear your thoughts on that. Scott also said on the Touring Plans podcast with Jim Hill and Len Testa, which is called the Disney Dish, they talked about the Skyliner expanding as far as Animal Kingdom Lodge in the coming years. Can you elaborate on any of that?
Nope.
No,
I mean, I'm kidding, except that's true. We will never have as much information as Jim does about future projects and past projects and all sorts of stuff like that. But I think it's just, excuse me, I think that right now is, it's not quite blue sky. It's farther along than that. I think they are, it sounds like Disney is really expecting to expand the Skyliner. If for some reason though it doesn't go well, it doesn't move as many people as they think. It has trouble operating in thunderstorms. Things that people are afraid of right now. I could see them maybe scrapping that and doing a different type of system. But with everything they know right now, I think there is completely a plan to expand it. Now that won't be till probably 2023, 2025, something like that maybe they will start going in that direction. But yeah, he had mentioned that the ultimate plan is to have the entire south end of the resort connected by Skyliner. So from Animal Kingdom Lodge all the way to Disney Springs, basically, you could go in everywhere in between, which would be pretty rad actually, to have an alternate source, because then it would also free up the buses. The buses wouldn't be as crowded. That it would make everything a little bit easier. So I'm really hoping that this Skyliner project goes well so that we can get all of that.
No, I definitely agree. Just easing up on the buses even a little bit, especially at night and the morning time, like where it gets that congestion and you're waiting for like 3 buses. You're waiting in line and like 3 buses pass and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get there. That would help a lot. Okay. Erica said, Minivans, can you book one for early morning the night before? Now, I haven't taken the minivan. I'm actually hoping, fingers crossed, I'm working on something right now. I'm hoping that I can do a video on this in September or at latest November, all about this and get some point of view get some questions answered for this question. Oh my gosh, what am I trying to say? Anyway, I'm hoping to film a video on this. I'm like trying not to give away. It's like, I don't know. I'm hoping to film a video on this. But as far as, can you book one the night before? I don't think so. But have you guys taken one? I mean, I haven't done it.
I think, and I'm not 100% sure if Lyft does it, because minivans are through the Lyft app.
Yeah.
You just get it activated at Disney World, and then in the car type selection, you will be able to, you'll be able to also select minivans. And I don't remember, I know Uber, you can quote unquote set up a trip ahead of time. I don't think you can on Lyft. But even with Uber's version, all it does is you kind of set up the trip, and then when you're ready to go, you just hit the button so you don't have to enter all the information again. But it doesn't actually call the driver until you're ready to use it. So even if you can set it up ahead of time, my guess is that you would still have to do it. You would still have to, hit the button and wait for them. The good news is, I mean, I have used the minivans a few times. The longest I've had to wait for one is about 15 minutes, and that was kind of late on like Friday or Saturday night when they were busy. They're generally pretty close. So if you do it if you're leaving the hotel, if you call one when you're walking out of the room, most likely they'll be there pretty close to by the time you get out to where they're picking you up. But I'm not sure. I tried to look. I didn't see an immediate option in the Lyft app to set it up ahead of time. So I don't think you can.
Yeah.
But you're not going to have to wait like a half an hour or 45 minutes, anything like that for under most scenarios. Now I know they are getting more widely used, so it's possible the waits can go up now. But you could also just call a regular Lyft too if you're looking there. A lot of times I'll just check and see what's going to get me there what's going to pick me up the fastest and go with that one. So.
Just doing a rough look on the internet, it doesn't look like you can book the night before. I wrote that in my notes as a question to ask when I do my video. So I will definitely ask that question and find out and put that information in the video so that we all know for sure. Keep bumping my headphones. So yeah. And another question we got is, are the minivans really $25 anywhere? How does that compare to the regular Lyft? Yes, they are. And if you want to go to the airport, it's $150 plus tax for one way.
Yeah, that's anywhere on Disney property.
Yeah.
Not anywhere.
And how does on Disney property. And how does that compare to regular Lyft? I would say regular Lyft would be cheaper.
Oh, way cheaper.
Way cheaper.
The
Same
only
with
time
Uber would be
the only
cheaper.
time they wouldn't be cheaper is if, like I said, the time I did take the minivan on I think it was a Saturday night. I was going from the Contemporary to Caribbean Beach back to my hotel room, and when I checked regular Lyft and Uber, they both have when it's busy, they'll have the multipliers on, so the rate will be multiplied by certain numbers. And I think though at the time minivans were $20. Which is what they were when they were initially introduced. And I think a regular like Lyft would have been like 18. So I figured, okay, fine. But normally, because I've taken Lyft around Disney property quite often, normally it's $10 or less, unless you're going like Animal Kingdom to Wilderness Lodge, then maybe it'll be 15. So they're usually a lot cheaper. It honestly, to get from the airport to Disney property is only going to cost you probably $40 or $50. So
right.
Compared to $150 for minivans.
Well, and I'll talk about that a little more in a second, but you guys are coming through with the comments. And since Brian and I are like not bringing our A game today, you guys are really answering our questions. Kathy said, we just got back and used the minivan and you could not set it up in advance. So we for sure have that answer now. Longest wait for us was 8 minutes. Love them. And since they have expanded their fleet, I can imagine you wouldn't really have a problem getting one. But I can see like how if you have an early morning reservation, like at 8 a.m., how you would be kind of nervous, wondering if you could get one that early in the morning. And
Yeah,
Debbie,
and there I think the minivans might be useful because services like Lyft or Uber, it kind of just depends on when people are out driving their cars.
mhm,
So, early in the morning, sometimes they're a little more sparse. Where minivans, they're cast members, they're Disney employees,
yeah,
so they're out driving when Disney says they are, which is 24 hours a day, basically.
yeah, basically. And Debbie said, what makes the minivans a deal is that if the car seats are needed, two are included in the price. A regular lift is about $10 to $12.
Hmm.
So what I was going back to as far as taking the minivans to the airport is that Uber now does Uber car seat in the Orlando area. So if you don't have a car and you want to get to the airport and you're not doing Disney's Magical Express, you can do Uber car seat and they will have one ready for you. And I don't know that you can order it in advance, which is the only hard thing because we tried to use it with my daughter and we couldn't order it in advance for the next morning. So that was the only bummer, but it was much cheaper than if you were to do the minivans, like
Yeah.
about $100 cheaper. So it just depends if that's how you want to do it. But I think we were talking with some of our coworkers, and I think you could take a limo for $150 from the
Yeah.
airport to Disney.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, as Kathy points out too, like the cast members driving the minivan, so of course are excellent. So, there will be lots more conversation and it will, generally on average be a little friendlier probably than a regular Lyft or Uber. As much as I like to talk in general, I actually don't always love to talk to the driver. So for me, I just kind of bury my head and don't say anything for the most part. So I don't mind either way, but
I
I
can't I
that is
can't see you
definitely a
doing that at
difference.
all. I'd be like
Yeah.
the complete opposite, as you can assume. I just like to chit chat the whole way. Okay, have we answered all the questions? Okay, I think we covered this one. We talked about Whispering Canyon. Okay, yeah.
I saw we had questions on both the Disney After Hours and the Toy Story Land Magic, early morning magic, in here somewhere. I can't find either of them right now, but I know. Oh boy, I know the After Hours. Both of them, I believe, were would we recommend. After Hours, I can definitely speak to. I was there. We do have a video on our YouTube page about it.
Hmm.
It's pricey. They're actually bumping. They just announced a bunch of dates for After Hours through March, I believe, of next year. About there's one coming up September 20th, and then I think not until January, if I remember right. But one or two a month is all. They're pricey. They're raising the price from 119 to 125 a person, and that is adult or child. Anyone 3 or older is 125 a person. So, if you have a family, you're going to be spending big bucks. Um, the good news is you can ride in those 3 hours. You could probably get through almost all the Magic Kingdom rides, with a little bit of hustle. There were lines for almost nothing. I think when I did it, I think Seven Doors Mine Train was the only one that had a line, and that was 10 minutes or less. Everything else was a walk on. I mean, Big Thunder, Splash, everything. The park seemed empty. It was crazy. I have a lot of shots in the video of me just walking around Tomorrowland and Liberty Square, and being one of 3 people I could see, within sight. So, if you really, really want to knock out the rides, especially if it's a shorter trip, I would say, like if you're only going for, say, 3 or 4 days or something like that, where you're not going to be able to spend a lot of time at the Magic Kingdom, it might be a good deal to, you know, not to really almost use that as your Magic Kingdom day, or at least for your rides portion of your Magic Kingdom day, because it's later in the evening. You could go to another park that day, use that as your entry ticket towards the end of the Magic Kingdom day, and get almost everything done. Um, it is really, really cool, but it's pricey. Um, and then I think
All right.
I lost the other question too, but
It's okay.
there
Um,
it is.
okay. I see Zenobia joined. So hi, and hi to my Aunt Kathy. And I linked Mickey's Halloween party in case you wanted to watch our video on that, and then I linked Brian's after hours review if you wanted to check that out. Um, so I've been busy over here. And a few of you have shared your minivan experiences, which I really appreciate, including Jill, who said that they had several 7:15 a.m. pickups at Animal Kingdom Lodge and never waited more than 5 minutes. So that's awesome. That's something that I may actually consider doing when I'm there because my daughter and I have like an 8:30 breakfast at Magic Kingdom, and we're going to be at Old Key West. So I think we might actually do that. That'll be great.
Yeah, I mean, I have no real complaints about the minivans other than that it's a little bit pricey compared to, using a regular Lyft. But I've never once gotten out of a car and went, I wish I didn't do that. Like, it's great.
Well, and I think for those of you who feel nervous, maybe doing Uber or Lyft,
Mhm.
maybe at
For,
night.
understandably, yeah.
Oh yeah, especially, like, you're alone. You can
Yeah.
feel a lot safer knowing that it's a Disney vehicle
hmm
bringing you rather than,
And I will say,
someone else.
actually, one thing I probably should have mentioned, there are certain trips where there is a decided advantage to being in a minivan. Going to the Magic Kingdom is one of them, because if you were to take a regular Lyft, they would have to drop you off at either the TTC, the Transportation Ticket Center, or you could have them take you to the Contemporary and walk over to the
Yes.
Magic Kingdom. The minivans, being a Disney vehicle, will drop you off in the bus drop-off area. So then you just can walk straight through security and in. Same actually that trip when I went back to Caribbean Beach, even though I'm pretty sure he wasn't supposed to, the driver, who I will not name because I don't want to get him in trouble in case he wasn't supposed to, went through to avoid some of the construction and having to go all the way around the big loop, went in through a service entrance that was like right next to my building and to drop me off to get me in there quicker because they,
Wow.
like the buses, they have the whatever is signaling them that automatically raises all the gates.
Yeah.
So there are times when taking a minivan, I've taken a minivan several times to the Magic Kingdom, despite the price, just because it's so much easier going in that direction.
Well, and I read a really great article, and
Excuse me.
Brian, you'll have to tell me if we have this on our website because it could have been that article that I read that tells you exactly where the drop off spots are for the minivan and Lyft and Uber
hmm
spots.
I don't
Um,
remember if that was us or not,
I'm
actually.
gonna I'm
But
gonna have to look for that and link it if I can find it again
hmm
because that's really helpful just so you guys for planning purposes know, okay, well this is where they're gonna drop me off, this is where I have to walk and how long it's gonna take
hmm
to get to my, breakfast or to the park or wherever. I think if that's something we haven't written up, we should definitely
I
do
don't
that.
know. Most of the parks are pretty easy because it's just kind of right in front. They're almost
Yeah. But
almost
if
they're
it's
allowed
like
to
the
drop you.
contemporary,
Um,
then yeah.
If it's, yeah, and Uber or Lyft, sometimes they have, especially if it's just a drop off and not, a check-in, sometimes but because the guards know that they're just leaving again, they don't usually care about letting them in for a
Yeah.
minute. And I've asked a couple of drivers if they've ever had trouble getting into like the Disney hotel lots, and all of them have said no, that the security is great. Like they have to show them their ID as everybody does going in, and they just say, "Oh, I'm just dropping off," and they let them in and let them back out. So I would imagine in most cases they can just drop you off at the door of the hotel. Disney Springs is a trickier one because I know at least with the minivans there are two pickup points, basically on either end, one near the marketplace and one kind of in between like town center and the west side, like where the bus area is there. So there you might have to walk a little bit to get to one of them. So
Well, yeah, and Disney Springs is a lot of walking anyway
yeah.
to get anywhere. I really like this question from Rachel. Thoughts on the value of early morning magic at Toy Story Land with a 6-year-old? Light breakfast, 3 rides, and meet and greets. Oh, my question. Oh, meets with Woody, Buzz, and Jessie. Can you get all that done in an hour and 15 minutes? What ride would you head to after it ends and the park opens? So with
That
a
was the one I was looking
6-year-old.
for. Yes, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Um, I mean, it just depends if you think that the money is worth it. Like Toy Story Land right now is not as busy as we had expected it to be. For example, like this next week coming up, Walt Disney World, crowd level wise is at a 1 the entire week. You know?
And it was this past week too, basically. It was one of the, we always have the second week of September as one of the lowest weeks. In fact, I think it might be the lowest crowd week of the year. And it's been right after Labor Day. People just don't come to Disney World relatively. I mean, it's busy. For normal places, it's busy. For Disney World, not busy.
No, when my family goes in 19 days, not that I have a countdown, the highest crowd level is a 4, but the rest are all 2s and 3s. So it just kind of depends on, when you're thinking about going and looking at our crowd calendar. They're fairly accurate, I would say. I mean, it always has been when I've gone. And just kind of looking from there and being like, okay, well, if it's going to be like an 8, then yeah, it might be worth it for you. And Brian's done actually the early morning magic at Fantasyland, and he preferred that over the after hours event.
I did partially because I'm more of a morning person than a night person anyway, but it's quite a bit cheaper. I don't remember the price off the top of my head, but it's somewhere in the $75 range, I believe. So it's not quite half the price, 60% of the price of the night one, which makes sense. It's a lot less time. It's an hour and 15 minutes.
3 attractions.
3 hours, and it's only 3 attractions at either park. Magic Kingdom, it is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Peter Pan, and Winnie the Pooh. At Hollywood Studios, it's the 3 Toy Story Land attractions: Slinky, Alien Swirling Saucers, and Toy Story Mania. Where I think the value comes in there is because, like the after hours, there is almost nobody there. So you can ride those 3 attractions multiple times if you want. You can, stop to meet the characters. I think there is no risk that you won't get everything done in an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
When I did the Fantasyland one, I rode 2 of the 3 attractions. I actually didn't ride Peter Pan, but I walked by it several times, and there was never more than 7 or 8 people standing in line waiting. So
that's crazy.
And I rode Seven Dwarfs Mine Train twice. I rode Winnie the Pooh once. I stopped and ate breakfast. I went back in to grab extra pastries like twice and extra coffee. And I walked around filming for a while and ended up leaving like 15 minutes before the event ended because I was going to a different park and I wanted to be there for opening, and I didn't really have much more to say. So I don't think there's any problem. And now it hasn't, the Fantasyland one, I don't believe has started yet.
I think it's like the 17th or something.
Yeah, I think so. And I think one of our statisticians, Steve, is actually going to go to that one.
Oh, perfect.
I don't know if he's going to film any video, but either way, he will, at the very least, write up something as far as his thoughts. So we will be able to tell you much more about that after, once it starts. But they are doing some annual pass holder previews, not previews, but events at Toy Story Land right now. And I've heard that they're just walk-ons for everything, the whole like hour. So I would expect it to be similar. And what I like about the morning magic is that if you are using a touring plan for the rest of the day, it really, really puts you ahead. Because at Magic Kingdom, you've already done Seven Dwarfs Mine Train as much as you want. You've already done Peter Pan. You've already done Winnie the Pooh. The first 2 of those especially are big attractions that get long waits. So now when the park officially opens, you can go to Space Mountain or Big Thunder Mountain or Splash Mountain, knock those out. You can get fast passes for 3 other attractions, and you can basically do the whole park in one day without really much fuss. And Hollywood Studios is even easier because there's only 6 rides in the whole park. So once the regular park opens, I would say, depending on the height of your children, if they want to do Rock and Roller Coaster, I would go there first, and then Tower of Terror, and then Star Tours. You don't need a fast pass that entire day. You could basically rope drop Rock and Roller Coaster because you'd be getting over there the same time as the people from the front. Do Tower of Terror, wait 10 minutes, go over to Star Tours, wait maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and be done with the rides, and then you can just wait until the shows start and see all of those, and you'll be done by 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
with Hollywood Studios.
Yeah. I do want to point out that for that Toy Story Land Early Morning Magic event, you do also have to have park admission into Hollywood Studios in addition to the hard ticket event. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah,
And
it functions as a dining reservation in their system, actually, not an event. So, and they do that because they don't want to have to sweep the park and kick people out if they don't have a ticket for the day. So.
Oh, well, that's good to know. And I also want to plug that I put out a Star Tours attraction overview on our YouTube channel.
Very good one.
Thank you. Did you watch it?
No, I just assumed.
Okay, well, it's a really good one.
Speaking of, did you see they're bringing Rex, RX-24, back as the DJ of the new cantina at Galaxy's Edge?
Are they really?
He was the anybody who doesn't know, he was the old version of Star Tours. He was the pilot of the Star Speeder. Now it is C-3PO, of course. But
That's
he is
right.
He is going to be the DJ for I forget what, Oga Cantina, I think it's called, at Galaxy's Edge. It's basically the Mos Eisley Cantina, except it's not on Tatooine. So
I've decided.
I'm very excited.
This is what I'm going to do. I've decided that I'm going to find a way for Brian and I to go experience Galaxy's Edge together, and all I'm going to do is just film Brian's reaction to it.
Film me crying.
That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to hold the camera and just film Brian experiencing it, because I think it would just make for great footage. Because
Disney's too smart not to have a booth in the cantina that looks just like the one that Han Solo and Greedo sat at, and I'll be sitting there pretending to shoot first and sobbing probably.
No, but Brian, you have to dress up and wear like the white shirt with the black vest.
Oh, I would absolutely do that.
And in return,
there's no way they're going to sell like blasters because they just look too much like real guns, but I will find something to put in a holster on my hip to make up for it. Yeah.
It'll be so good. In return, I will try all the weird food. I will try the blue milk and all the weird foods so you can see my reactions. It will be, oh my gosh, it'll be such a fun time. It'll be great.
You'll probably have to wait 2 hours to get into the cantina and another 2 to get to the booth where Han Solo sat at. So.
Oh, I hope we're not going to have a repeat of the Halloween party Brian reaction. Although that'd be really funny with like me up here and you down here. It won't be hot though, because it'll be late fall.
It won't be hot. It will be very crowded. I saw somebody, the comments are coming in so fast that it's Scott.
I know, I can't keep up.
That this will be the good old days for Hollywood Studios because Star Wars will rule all, and I think that's true. I think it'll be a good solid 2 years before Hollywood Studios is inhabitable again, because it will be so crowded for so long. But yeah, it will still be very, very cool. I am beyond excited to see the Millennium Falcon and all that stuff. So. It's gonna be great.
I accidentally said Millennial Falcon to a bunch of 40-plus-year-olds, and then they started making millennial jokes at me about
only serves avocado toast.
I know, and saying savage about all the planets getting blown up to me. Oh, they were just teasing, tearing me apart.
There's got to be a Funny or Die video about the Millennial Falcon somewhere.
I should make a parody video, just saying millennial phrases. Kevin said, quick question that I hope anyone can answer. Kevin, I see him on Twitter a lot. I'll be doing the Toy Story Land Pass Holder morning event on the 18th. Check-in is at 6:45. Are they running buses that early, or will I have to Uber Lyft minivan? They normally start the buses. Is it like an hour and 15 minutes before the park opens?
Yeah, it's tough to get an answer out of Disney with this. I think officially the buses start 30 minutes before park opening or something, but they always start an hour and a half before park opening. But that is, they start running 90 minutes before opening from wherever it is they are stored. So you will see on the screens at the bus stops at the resorts and stuff, all of a sudden 90 minutes before opening, they'll pop up on there with an arrival time. And it's usually 10 or 15 minutes after that by the time they actually get to the resort. I don't actually know where the depot is where they keep the buses, but it always seems to take 10 or 15 minutes to get to the hotel. So yeah, it's about an hour and 15 minutes where the first bus will come. Okay. So if, check-in is at 6:45, on the bus, you probably won't get there until 7 if it's an
Yeah.
8 a.m. opening. So, that's when you might want to consider like a Lyft or a minivan or something like that. If you want to be there definitely at 6:45. So, you can always ask at the resort, but I think a lot of times they're just told the standard line, well, buses, run 30 to 60 minutes before. I forget exactly what the time is, but whatever it is isn't exactly true. I think Disney just says that to cover themselves if the bus doesn't come until, 45 minutes before the park opens.
Yeah.
So,
kind of like how they increase the wait times when it's really not that long, just
yeah.
to kind of cover themselves. Going
Yep.
off of that, Thomas wants to know, with the minivans, do you do everything through the Lyft app?
Yes.
And you do, but you kind of go to the front desk and they kind of help you program it.
To set it up, yeah.
When they were testing it, that's how they did it. Do they still do that?
I still think to set it up, you have to have go to the desk, and all they'll do is ask you your phone number, and you have to, at least when I did it, I had to uninstall the Lyft app. Then they did something with my phone number, and then I reinstalled it, and the minivan showed up. I assume that's still something they have to do, but now that it's everywhere, maybe because it is geolocated as well. Like now when I look at my phone, I don't see minivans on there. I used to actually during the test period. Even from my house, I could see minivans, but if I selected it, it would just say none are available.
Yeah.
But now it doesn't show. But if I'm in Disney, it will show. So it's possible that they just geotagged everything, and now when you're on property, it automatically shows on there. So check first before you go to the lobby. But yeah, just like using regular Lyft, you call them through there, you pay them through there, you tip them through there, all that stuff. So, and they will say that they don't take tips, but you can still tip them. So
through the app.
Through the app.
And Danya, this is a very good point. She said that if you need an accessible minivan, you have to call through the front desk. It cannot be booked through the app.
Oh, that is good to know. I wasn't sure because I've seen it driving around, or them driving around. I don't know how many there are, and I was curious about that. Thank you.
Yeah, which is good to know because my mom uses an electric scooter when we're there, so that is something that we will need at some point. Now, I will eventually keep answering the comments that are coming in, so keep leaving them, but we need to go to the questions that were asked ahead of time because I don't think we've answered a single one. There are not that many, though, so like I said, keep leaving the comments. Dee said, we decided to move our Walt Disney World trip to Valentine's Day. Are there any attraction refurbs planned that haven't already been announced? There was a post about Expedition Everest going down for a refurb. That would be really disappointed. We have a refurbishment schedule on the TouringPlans website that I'll link after I stop talking. And we try to keep it as up to date as possible. So if you're ever wondering what refurbishments are going on, just check out that link. Right now, the Walt Disney World railroad stations will be closed during that time until summer. And then the Tomorrowland Speedway is scheduled to close in early 2019. So I don't know if that means around Valentine's Day or like January.
And we don't know for how long either. That's related to the construction for the Tron coaster. And it's not supposed to be down like the whole time it's being built, but we don't know exactly what it's going down for or for how long. So that could be, yeah.
And I think, who was it? Matt said, what is it going to take to shut down the Tomorrowland Speedway for good?
I don't know. We all thought the Tron coaster would do it, and it's not. I know. So, yeah, that is. I don't mind it as an attraction. My kids like it. They still, young kids. Before you turn 16, it is very fun to drive a car, even if you're on rails. So. But they got to do something with those engines. That smell is like sickening trying to walk by there sometimes. If it's one of those real hot days and there's not really any breeze, you just get all that diesel and it's so much. I wish they would do an overlay, change it out to electric cars. I mean, they have Wreck-It Ralph that has, a racing element to it. Mm-hmm. They have an entire Cars franchise. The fact that they haven't put some wraps on them or something is
It'd be
pretty
so easy
crazy.
Too.
Yeah.
Like and Tom actually commented below Matt and said like to do some kind of sugar rush from Wreck-It Ralph would be really neat. I mean, as far as the smell, like it brings back a wave of nostalgia because my dad always brought me like around old cars and stuff like that. But it still like kind of takes you away from the magic when it's
Yeah.
just like it's in your face, and some people really don't like that smell, so it really can
It's
bother you.
it's not a good smell. I mean, I
No,
understand the same thing. It reminds me of the Magic Kingdom, but if it went away, I don't know that I'd complain about it
I know I
either.
wouldn't
So,
miss it at all, but I think it'd be way more fun if they, like went electric and did some kind of like Wreck-It Ralph or Cars
hmm
thing. That'd be
yeah.
really fun. And then also, let's see, Typhoon Lagoon will be closed around that time. They do that with the water parks. They just switch them off just to kind of fix things up and whatnot. And then no
Yeah.
news on the Yeti being fixed for your
No, and
Expedition
that's
Everest
that's one of those
question.
things that's again was has been rumored for a while because one of the reasons we heard that they hadn't tried fixing the Yeti before was because they didn't want Expedition Everest to have to go down for 6 months or however long it took because there wasn't a ton of attractions in Animal Kingdom. Now that Pandora is pulling a lot of the crowd, we've kind of wondered if well now maybe is the time to do that. But I also still wonder if there's really any value in fixing the Yeti. I honestly don't know how. I never got to ride it when the Yeti was in full operation. I've seen videos of it and stuff, and you go by it so fast. It
Yeah.
just seems like a lot of money to spend on a half a second of ride time when the ride is perfectly enjoyable without it. So I'm not. I'm curious whether they're really going to spend money on doing that. But I will say I was looking at the refurbishments earlier because I actually did see that question, and there isn't many listed right now for the
Mm-mm.
parks, which makes me a little bit nervous. I do wonder if when we get to like November, December, once they have better like estimates on how crowded it's going to be, and of course Disney always knows a little bit more accurately than even we do sometimes because they have all the hotel reservations and everything at their fingertips, which we don't, and I wonder if maybe if they see there's going to be a slow period in January and February, if they're going to do a lot of like Splash Mountain is one that tends to go down for 2 or 3 weeks almost every year because just for maintenance because they have so many
Wasn't
animatronics
that
and
done?
the water and everything.
Wasn't that done
Um,
in like not February, but wasn't
it's
that
usually
recently
like
done?
It's usually January, February, and it
Yeah.
used to go down basically every year. Lately, they've been pushing it to like every other year, but
Yeah.
usually by the time it gets 2 years, like half of those chickens on the riverboat at the end just aren't working anymore and stuff
The
because that
chickens.
yeah, I mean animatronics and water are just not a great combination. So things like Pirates and Splash Mountain just need a little bit more attention than some of the other rides. So I wouldn't be shocked, but right now we don't know of anything.
Karina wants to know what's wrong with the Yeti. The Yeti, it's just a really big, like just really expensive audio or I guess animatronic
Hmm
and has a lot of hydraulics. And so it broke a really long time ago and it's super, super expensive to fix. So they just haven't, and it would require doing a lot of maintenance on the ride. And it's almost more money than it's worth to fix. So they've just kind of like adjusted it and adapted it to
Yeah,
work in a
basically,
different way.
if you look next time you're on the ride, and like I said, you can find ride videos on YouTube of the working Yeti and everything, but right towards the end, you kind of dive through a cave and come back up, and it's pretty dark. But on your right hand side, you'll be able to see this giant brown Yeti, and I mean giant, like 15, like 10, 15 feet
It's
tall, I think.
huge.
And there's like a strobe light on him now, which was
Hmm.
people refer to him as the Disco Yeti because of the strobe.
Yeah.
And he used to move. He used to kind of swing
Yeah.
his arm over the
And
top
I
of the
rode it when
car.
it did that, which
Did you
was
really?
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's almost not really noticeable right there because he just kind of they make a roaring sound and there's like
Hmm.
flashing lights. And yeah, it wasn't long that he actually worked. I feel like a couple of months or a year or something like that was all that he really worked for. And I guess we've heard all sorts of reasons for the problem. I think a lot of it is just cost, but I've also heard that like the base he's on because he's so big is like the track and like the whole structure was kind of built around his base, so you
Mm-hmm.
can't get him out of there without like dismantling part of the actual mountain.
Yeah.
So that's part of the problem. There's a lot of problems with him, but that's the thing. Now it's been so long, there's fewer and fewer people know that he's even supposed to do anything else.
So what's the
So
point?
yeah, if it's going to cost them, if it comes down to the couple extra million, or a million more needed for a new attraction or fixing him, I think most people would just take the new attraction and leave him as he is.
Well, and the ride itself is kind of fine without the Yeti. I still think it's
Yeah,
exciting.
it's a really good ride. Yeah.
If you're wondering what the ride looks like without the Yeti moving, I think we also have an attraction overview of that on the YouTube channel, so you can just check that out. Yeah. Okay. Next question. Christina said, I'll be at Disney's Hollywood Studios October 7th. My family and I are not good at getting to the park early, so we've got a 10 a.m. arrival planned. My touring plan is giving me a 36-minute wait for Slinky Dog Dash that day. What should I realistically plan for? It's a crowd level 7 that day. If your touring plan is giving you a 36-minute wait, our touring plans are pretty accurate, but you should definitely re-optimize the night before and even the morning before, so you have a much better idea of what your wait's going to be. And if your plan is exactly how you want it and you don't want to change the steps, then just hit evaluate instead, and then that won't move your steps. But just stick to your plan, and that will
Yeah.
they're very accurate.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Hollywood Studios is definitely it is the easiest park to see if you're arriving a little bit late, because there's not that many attractions. So even if you do have to wait a little bit for some of them, it's not gonna be an all day thing really.
Yeah.
Or it is, but you'll see everything in that day at least.
Yeah.
So.
We also have plans for the late starter. They normally have late arrival in the title. So if you are someone who doesn't like to get to the parks early and you want a plan that's kind of meant for late arrivals, just look for that in the title under our touring plans. Let's see. Let's go back to the comments. Adam said, hey, Brian and Angela, it's been a while. No Disney trips until 2020, probably, but tuning in for some news maybe. Well, thanks for joining us, Adam. We haven't done this for a while either. I think I did this 2 weeks ago, and now Brian is joining me again. Jean. Hooray, with his Gryffindor cup. Jean said, glad to see you back talking about Disney again. I'm thinking of applying for the Moms panel again. Yes, so the Disney Parks Moms panel applications are open right now. I think I've applied once or twice. I made it to round 2 the first time. Yeah, I've done that. I think I've applied twice before. The second time I was working for TouringPlans, and so I can't apply now. But good luck to all of you who are applying this year. I hope that you make it and all that. It's very, very fun to be a part of. Yeah. Brian, did you ever apply for that?
No, I thought about it. I think the year before I started working for TouringPlans, I thought about it when I was reading some of the things. I was like, yeah, I just don't know that it's not necessarily my type of thing. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I didn't do it.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. And I think in December you go and have a week of training. I know a couple people who do it, and they just look like they have a blast. It's something I'd love to do. But yeah, who knows? Maybe someday. Callie loves the new hotel rooms with the plank or tile flooring. When will all the rooms be rid of wall to wall? It can't be too soon. I mean, they're making their way through the refurbishments. Brian just did a refurbished room in French Quarter. And then Brian, will I be staying in a refurbished room for Riverside?
I hope so, yeah.
Okay, so if that's the plan,
that's the idea. Yep.
I'll do a room tour for you. We're slowly covering all the refurbished rooms.
Yeah,
so you guys can get footage.
I mean, they're right now they're doing all-star movies to look like the Pop Century rooms.
Yep.
Both Port Orleans now will have and what it is, it's vinyl flooring actually that just is textured to look like wood. So it's real easy upkeep, real easy to clean. It's not going to fade like the carpet will. So I like it a lot. I think it's much cleaner looking. It's not as cushy, obviously, as the carpet. But I will say I went straight from Port Orleans French Quarter to Grand Floridian this last time, and the Grand Floridian room tour will be out next week, I think. I forget when. But I was actually a little disappointed. The carpeting at the Grand Floridian looked like it used to be very plush and is now like so flattened
And
from the
matted.
years of people walking on it that it just didn't look that nice. But that's just you're having like thousands of people walking on this carpet
Yeah.
over and over and over again. So that just it makes sense to not want to do that anymore. They have a refurbishment listed for Animal Kingdom Lodge, Jumbo House. It's starting mid-August, although we just had one of our staffers there who didn't notice any refurbishments. So it's possible they haven't started yet, or they haven't officially said anything as far as I know, but it is on their refurbishment calendar still. So my guess is they might get something like that too. It seems like every room refurbishment they're doing is putting in vinyl flooring, and they're doing a lot. Our instinct is that they want to have all of the rooms basically redone before the 50th anniversary in 2021 because they're expecting so many people that whole year that they want good impressions, everywhere.
Yeah,
So
they want it to look nice.
my guess is they're going to go through all the All-Stars. I can't imagine they're going to do movies and then stop. So I think all the All-Stars will look like the Pop Century rooms. And I saw Karina asked if Pop was completely remodeled. It is. They are doing the last building right now, but every room that is available to stay in is completed. So if you are staying at Pop Century, you will be staying in an updated room. So that one is done, and Port Orleans French Quarter is also done, I believe. And I think they just started.
That was fast.
Yeah, they're doing them pretty quick. So, and I
Wow.
think they just started. Although French Quarter is not a huge resort, they just started, I believe, on Riverside. I will say the excellent. Anytime you want to know stuff about the Port Orleans resorts, portorleans.org is a wonderful site. They actually keep really up to date on this stuff. So it is one of the easier resorts to figure out. Yeah, they are through Riverside. Buildings 37 and 38 are already completed, and they are working on 39 right now. So. They are expected to finish everything or not everything, but the Alligator Bayou rooms they are doing by the end of the year. They will all be done. So,
All right. Well, hopefully I can
yeah,
get a refurbished room then. I mean, by
yeah.
November,
Most
for
of
sure.
like 3/4 of it should be either done or being worked on by the time you're there. So, I would
Okay.
assume that there's a good chance, and we'll beg them for it if we have
Okay.
to. So.
I see more comments coming in. I'm going to get to our last 3 questions that were pre-asked, and then I will go back. Ginny said, any suggestions for getting the best ticket deals for both Universal Studio parks, preferably with fast passes, or that would be Universal Express? It's so much more expensive than visiting Walt Disney World. So we would probably suggest mousesavers.com. They show special offers and discounts that change all the time, not only for Universal, but also, Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line. So you can check that out. Also, they have AAA discounts. I know that Costco will sometimes offer discounts. We have a page all about Universal Studio, or I guess Universal Orlando discounts that you can check out on touringplans.com. But for sure, Mouse Savers is a really good, kind of place to look. Good resource for you.
Oh yeah,
Is there?
They have everything cataloged and updated. It's very useful.
Yeah, it's a good place to look. And Jamie said, can you use the dining plan for the Tiffin's Festival of the Lion King dining package? And if so, is it 1 or 2 credits? So if you're purchasing the tier 1 package, which comes with the meal, the show, and then like a VIP safari tour, then
Hmm.
no, you can't. You have to pay for that. But if you're doing tier 2, which is just the meal and the show, then you can use the dining plan, and then it is 2 table service credits per person. So if you're getting the tier 1 with the safari, no. If you're doing tier 2, which is just the meal and the show, then yes, and it's 2 credits.
Good. I did not know that, actually.
I had to look it up. That was a tricky question.
Rebecca asked a question that I can answer, actually, because I just recently got an email about this too. How much time should I allow to get into the gates or get to the gates of the Magic Kingdom, including parking and the ferry ride? I would say overall, I would give it 45 minutes to an hour total. From where you park, you have to, either take the tram or walk. over to the Ticket and Transportation Center. You have to go through security. You have to get either the ferry or the monorail. You have to take that over to the Magic Kingdom and then get up and, scan through the gates. So, best case scenario, you're looking at probably half an hour, 25 minutes maybe, if everything goes exactly right and there's no line at security. The monorail is there when you walk up, that kind of stuff.
I agree.
It could be as much as, I would say, 45 or 50 minutes, barring like a mechanical issue. I have been there when the monorails just aren't running and there's like masses of people waiting for the ferry and that kind of stuff. Those days you just can't plan for. But
Right.
but I would give it, I would say 45 minutes is a pretty decent time from, parking to gates of the Magic Kingdom. And remember that the Magic Kingdom lets guests in as much as 60 minutes before park opening. On a regular 9 a.m. opening day, you will be able to get in right about an hour beforehand and just hang out on Main Street or the hub. On an 8 a.m. opening day, an extra magic hour day, you'll be able to get in, about 15 to 30 minutes ahead of time. So, so figure that into your plan too. You do want to be there. You want to be in the hub, pointing towards your first attraction when the park officially opens, because, that puts you ahead of everybody else that is just showing up at 9 a.m. So, figuring all that, that's what I would say. And it is a lot. I know every time I say stuff like that, people go, but that's so early, and it is, and you don't have to do it by any means. Like I said, using a plan, you can show up late and still get a lot done. But if you want to absolutely maximize your time in the park, and for me, I'm not a big fan of crowds, so I like to be there early and deal with as few crowds as I can, and then bug out by lunchtime and come back later in the evening when it's not so busy. So, those are the people I'm talking to. If you're on vacation, you want to sleep till 11, show up, see what you can do in a few hours, from 11 until midnight or whenever, then that's perfectly fine. Use a touring plan. They help.
Our final question, and then we'll get back to the comments, I promise, is from Janessa, and she said, is it possible to see Fantasmic and Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam on the same night? I'd say probably not, just because Fantasmic is 30 minutes long and normally starts at 8 or 9 p.m. and then Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam is just 30 minutes later. So if Fantasmic's a 30-minute show, Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam's 30 minutes after, it'd be cutting it really close unless you skipped out early.
Yeah,
you kind of walk towards it.
I don't know if they do. I know they used to, this was back when they used to do the Frozen fireworks at Hollywood Studios years ago. I remember being there waiting for the Frozen fireworks and having them be delayed like 10 minutes because Fantasmic started late, and they wanted to give the people that were at Fantasmic an opportunity to catch the Frozen fireworks. So it's possible that they don't really start those shows until like a couple minutes after Fantasmic ends, so that it is possible to do both. So it might be possible, but yeah, the timing, I mean, you're going to be walking up to Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam like as it's starting. So location and all that stuff is not really going to be up to you. It's going to be kind of where you end up standing. But it'll be possible to at least catch 2/3 of it, I would think, if you wanted to.
Like, you'll either have to sit in the back and miss, like, just the tail end of Fantasmic, or, like, miss the beginning of,
Probably, yeah.
Let's see. Andrea said, my husband and I can't wait to check out the new pop rooms next month. We're looking forward to our one-night stay at Kidani Village with a Savannah view. That'll be really fun. Your website really helped me with my room request list for my clients and my personal trips. That's a really nice comment to leave. We really do appreciate hearing things like that, because it makes us like what we do even more. Why am I stuttering? I like get flustered when we hear nice things. Okay. It makes us enjoy what we do even more, because it lets us know that you like our content and you like our information. So thank you for leaving that comment. Oh my gosh, I got really nervous from that. Okay. And Adam said, just wanted to say how much I love the reservation finder. I've been fortunate enough to get a lot of hard to get dining reservations with it. I got Be Our Guest for 10 people within 48 hours of going. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Will there be any tool like this for fast pass reservations? What I know.
Not in the near future.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I
No.
know it's been, brought up, like, because you're not, like, it's been brought up by other people before, because I know that'd be really, really cool to
It would
do.
be, but yeah, I don't know. Disney, understandably, does have legal issues with doing certain things. The reservation finder was actually kind of tricky to set up because we had to be very careful to not step on Disney's user agreements. A lot of sites have done this similar things and been shut down by them, actually. So we have not, which means that our lawyers did a good job, I guess. So the fast pass, I think, that's going to be it would be another thing that's very tricky. It would take a lot of time. So that's why I say definitely not within the next year, I would say. After that, who knows?
It'd be a really cool feature, though. And then I think we'll answer one more question, and then we will say goodbye. Amanda says, my flight leaves MCO at 2:45, and we plan on using the Magical Express. Do you think we have time to get to a park in the morning before we leave? So the Magical Express leaves about 3 hours before your flight, so 2:45.
Thankfully, it's back to 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
4 for a little while.
I did it when it was 4. It was the day that the 4 hours started, and then it was an hour late. So I just waited for an hour with my 2 kids. I was traveling alone with, like, a 1 and a 3-year-old by myself. Oh, it was bad.
Even 3 hours is a lot, and 4 is just. Whew.
So that will be 11:45.
Yeah.
I mean, if you did like an extra, like a morning extra magic hour,
Mm-hmm.
you could do it, but I don't know that unless you have an annual pass, I don't know that I'd kind of like use a day's park pass.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of it kind of depends. Like Angela said, if there's an extra magic hour that you can use, if there's just an 8 a.m. opening, if it's like a Saturday, more likely than not, one of the parks will be open at 8 a.m. just normally. It depends on where you're staying. If you're staying at like Beach Club, where you can just walk to Epcot and back,
Right.
Then yeah, you could go even at a 9 a.m. opening, which Epcot usually is. You could go over for an hour and a half or 2 hours and walk back to your hotel because there's no risk of, a transportation issue then. If you have to take a bus up and back, where you'll want to leave yourself enough time to get back, then yeah, I don't know if I'd do it at a 9 a.m. opening, but there are definitely ways, and that's what might be a good time to use the minivan service or something like that.
Oh,
so
for sure.
You'll get back quicker and that kind of stuff. So there are definitely ways you really want to. Oh, it says they have the ticket already. They're staying at All Star Music. So then yeah, I would just look and see what where extra magic hour is that morning, or if there's an 8 a.m. And heck, if it's an 8 a.m. opening with an extra magic hour and there's a 7 a.m. opening, then absolutely you can go for a couple hours. But yeah, I think you'd be able to get an hour or two, depending on when you can get there. I'd do it. I'd go for an hour, and even if I didn't ride anything, I'd just go hang out in the park for an hour and go back. Why not?
Yeah, and I know that you can check your luggage at the resort, with certain airlines. So you could just take care of your luggage before you go if you wake up early enough, so you don't even have to worry about that. You can just
or even just drop it at Bell Services and have them just hang on to it until you come back. Yeah, that's usually what I end up doing. So
yeah, if you're organized and you have all your ducks in a row, there's definitely a way to do it. So if you already have the ticket, I mean, why not? Just be back by 11:30, 11:15, just to be safe, and you should be good.
Yeah, they'll tell you. You won't know the time officially until the day before. It could be 11:30. It could be noon. It's not always exactly 3 hours before. So that will help you a little bit. If it's noon, then you have a little bit extra wiggle time. So.
Well, that's all we have for today. I'm so glad that you joined us. We will, I don't know, maybe Brian will be back next week, but I'll for sure be back.
Probably not. Next week, next Friday, I go to Orlando for Halloween Horror Nights and Food and Wine. So I think I'll probably be in prep mode. So next week's probably not great.
But we will probably have a podcast episode out talking all about Mickey's Not So Scary. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully any day now. The editor has it, so.
And we figured out my microphone issues.
Not quite yet. I have to send you an email about that. But yeah.
Oh no. Okay. Well, work in progress. Oh my gosh, I'm never gonna get this fixed. Eventually, my
Turns
audio
out
quality
this will be
good.
this will be shocking to none of you. Angela was way too loud. So.
Oh, well, I got too excited again. Big surprise. Okay. Well, anyway, we will have that episode coming up. So just turn down your microphone volume, I guess.
Well, Aaron will take care of that. He's a very good editor.
Okay. Well, I will have that up then. And you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.